Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Fulfilled Musicpreneur podcast. Hi, Facebook. Hi, YouTube. If you're watching, please let me know. Just say hi in the comments so I know who is listening and so I can say hi properly. As you can probably tell, this is not my office. So I'm at home and I'm recording. I'm at my parents' home and I'm recording from their room because there's no office here. So it might look a bit different, but we'll make it work. Happy Easter. I hope you've had a great weekend. I've had a blast from church to our Easter parade down the streets of Derby, to coming to see my folks that I haven't seen in 6 months. So yeah, I've had a lovely weekend and happy new month. I wonder how many of you have had April Fool jokes played on you today, or how many of you have played April Fool jokes. I actually got one in my email this morning. I received an email from a well-known business coach who emailed his whole list saying he was going to run for the mayor of London. And I sort of knew, I kind of knew it must have been an April Fool's joke because it was out of the blue. But he went full out. Like, he had a page, he recorded a video saying why he was going to do this, went on a rant about all the things that were happening in London that he did not like, and talked about what he was going to do when he won the election. And about an hour ago, he sent an email saying, "Hey, April Fools." And I'm like, who does that? Like, who goes out of their way to create a whole video, a whole campaign page just to say April Fool? Oh my goodness. Anyways, so today I wanted to talk about my 3 top ways that I've used to grow my Spotify listeners. So I recently went on Spotify and saw that I had passed the 3,000 listener mark. And I know for many of you that may be small numbers, but I am celebrating where I am because that's a huge change from where I started a couple of years ago. And I just figured that I will just talk about my top 3 ways that I am loving and using to grow my Spotify listeners. And I would love to hear from you as well. What has worked well for you? Let me know if any of the points I talk about is something that you totally agree with, is something that you've used. And yeah, let's share the knowledge. Let's encourage each other and inspire each other. And just, yeah, what works for you? It will be great to hear from you. And that's why I do this, because I want to learn and I want to see what works and I want to share it with you. So you know what has worked for me. So you can also use it in your music journey as well. Now, Spotify listeners or Spotify followers, those numbers can be, um, social proof that could be annoying or not, because you want the impact you're making to drive or to fuel your joy, not just numbers, right? But they are a marker for growth, right? So it's not the fact that it's 3K is not as important as the fact that it's just a sign that more people are hearing my songs. And I'm sure the worst thing that can happen to any of us independent artists is for us to pour our energy, our blood and sweat, and all our savings into creating and getting a song produced that you thought was amazing. It sounded great. You thought it had a lot of potential, and you released it, and crickets. It's like no one is listening, no one cares, not much is happening. That's probably the worst thing that can happen to anyone. I'm sure if you've been an independent artist at your early stage, you may have experienced that. It's not fun. It's not a fun feeling. And I think it's one of the mindset changes that I had to make in the last couple of years, that actually making sure I have a plan to promote my music is if not as important, it may actually be more important than actually getting the song well produced. Because I mean, if you pour all you have into your song and no one hears it, have you really made an impact? No, you have not. However, pouring all you have into a song and knowing that people are hearing it, that is the best way to know that you are making an impact, you're reaching people. So many advantages of that happening. Not just the fact that then you're able to get paid royalties as you grow your stream, your followers, your listeners, but also it gives you the best chance of reaching the ears of industry experts, of people that are decision makers, of people that can actually then reach out to help you, because those numbers are social proof that you are serious, that you are hardworking, you are talented. It's social proof that something is happening with your music. Okay. So it may not really matter to you, the numbers may not matter to you, but your numbers are things that other industry experts and decision makers look at. So I cannot tell you the amount of times that I've received email saying, oh my goodness, I heard your music on Spotify, I would love to work with you. I heard your music on Spotify, and can you come check us out? Something like that, just because people have heard. So growing your Spotify listeners, growing your streams is something that you want to look into. And I know there are many other platforms. Spotify is not the only platform, but I think Spotify is one of the platforms that has the highest number of listeners currently around the world. So if you're looking for a place that, it's easier to focus on one platform. And if you're looking for that one platform to focus on, then I would recommend Spotify, definitely. Okay. So when I started out releasing music and trying to get it heard, pitching to playlists was one of the first things that I started to do. I remember getting Chidi Ohiagu on a podcast a couple of years ago, and we talked about how he was able to get 100,000 streams on one of his singles at that time in 1 month. And I thought it was mind blowing. I still find it mind blowing because I'm definitely not there yet. But we started to talk about the multiple ways that he got this done. And one of the things he talked about was playlisting, and not just going to daily playlist and Submit Hub. But I remember he talked about going to industry professionals that they have developed a relationship and nurtured the relationship with industry experts. So he talked about one of them, and I've been working with him for about a year now, and he has the relationships with other playlist owners. So I pay him to playlist my songs, and he pitches them to playlist owners, but, and this is the caveat, the right playlists for my song. So I release contemporary gospel, contemporary CCM, inspirational music. And I don't want it to end on a rock and roll playlist or a heartbreak playlist. I want it to end on a playlist of other inspirational songs, other contemporary Christian music, or contemporary gospel music, so that the listeners there are there to listen to songs like mine, and there's a good chance that they'll be like, "Who? This is lovely. Who is this person?" And then they actually visit my Spotify page, they look at it, and the hope is they start to follow me. So every time I release music, then it appears on their radar, release radar, it appears, and you've gained a new follower, you've gained a new fan. Essentially, that is the whole premise of pitching to playlists, is because you are going to a place that already has a gathering of potential fans for your kind of music, and there's a good chance that they will begin to follow you as they hear your songs. They will check you out, they will want to know you. That is the whole point. Now, when I first started, I was submitting to Submit Hub, and I was getting some songs get on, but I was getting a lot of no's. And sometimes the reasons that were given were not great. It just, that they're just really picky about the people that they accept onto their playlists for whatever reason. And I'm sure that is something that a lot of artists have struggled with. You get a lot of no's, you get frustrated, you quit, and you never go back to Submit Hub. Well, I was doing that for a while, and I started to get tired of it myself. So I decided that it was worth saving funds or getting funds together and going to pay someone who knew the right people, right? So, I mean, there's big playlists, there are small playlists. You may not get on the huge playlists straight away, but I think regularly pitching to him every time my songs came out, and him sending the songs to playlists have had it's had a great impact on my visibility. It's had a great impact on my numbers, because as you do that regularly, every 3 months, every time new music comes out, you're pitching, your numbers begin to grow. Okay. So I thought this was the best way that I've grown my listeners. It's something I'm going to keep doing, and it's something I'm going to do in even bigger ways, because there are different levels. You can pitch to 5 playlists, you can pitch to 10, you can pitch to even higher numbers. So if you know that you have a winner, you have a song that's amazing, your vocals were amazing, the production was beautiful, you think that this song has the potential to go far, then I will save up a lot of funds and just go full out and promote your song on huge playlists. And I don't mind paying for it, because I prefer to pay knowing that I'm giving it the best chance than to pitch to people who may or may not accept, just because they get like, well, I don't know how many how many requests they receive daily just to get songs added. I'm sure they're inundated, and they just can't afford to be picky, right? So that was my number one, paying a professional playlister to get my songs on the right playlists. That's my number one strategy that I've used so far, and that is something that I will definitely continue to use, and something that I will recommend to people that are listening. Number 2 strategy is collaborations. Now, I collaborated, was it last year or 2 years ago? My first collaboration, I think it was actually with my sister, but my big major collaboration was with Sarah Table. It was 2 years ago, and I definitely saw a spike in my streams. But also, it raises your credibility, because people hear you collaborate with a well-known artist, someone with a larger audience, and you're like, oh, wow, that's amazing. It raises your credibility. They begin to look at you differently. They begin to take you more seriously. So that is definitely something that I will recommend. Now, the caveat is get ready to pay, because you are essentially leveraging their audience to grow yours, right? So many of them charge a certain amount. So be ready to talk about terms, be ready to pay, make sure you're signing, the percentage of the performance royalties, that how you're splitting that. Make sure you're discussing all of that early on, and making sure that you are happy with all of the paperwork first. Okay. So just go there, go prepared, right? Don't get upset because they're saying there's a fee. That's just the industry. So you're better off going prepared. What can you afford? You could go and say, look, I can't afford this much. I hope you can be, what's the word? I hope you're not, too strict on the amount you're charging. This is when I can afford. And just talk terms, right? And I think that I'm going to do more collaborations this year as well, because not only did I see, was it easier to pitch, it was also easier to get on playlists, because, they're like, I love Sarah Table, but I also saw new listeners or new streams on places like iTunes, which is not something that I've actually I have not made that a one of the top things that I was going for. Okay. But because Sarah Table has listeners on iTunes, then I also got some listeners on iTunes as well. So collaborations are huge. They are a very effective way of growing your listeners, of growing your audience. One of the things that I also recommend is being prepared, knowing how to approach them. You need to do some research. Why are you approaching them? Are they because is it because your song is a fit for them? You know what they're into, you know what their style is, you think they'll do really well on this song. Or it could be you just have a chorus and then you both co-write the song together. Or if you go with a full song, be flexible, get ready to maybe make some edits, because some of them, they want to make sure that they are on board with the song as well. They will not collaborate if they don't like something about the song. So be malleable. Right. But I think collaborations are amazing. So start making a list of your dream artists that you would like to collaborate with. And the last tip, a ninja tip that I will leave with you, is if there is someone that knows them, get that person to make the introduction. I cannot overemphasize the power of getting someone to introduce you. I mean, think about it. In our emails, we receive like a huge number of emails daily from strangers, or people that are just saying, hey, can you buy my this, can you pay for my this, can you do this, can you? And most of the time we don't have the time for that. We ignore. And because they don't know you, you will eventually end up in the ignore list, not because you're not worth it, but just because it's a cold call, it's a cold email. Compare that to someone introducing you. Say, hey, I have a friend who would love to work with you. She loves you. She has a song, and I thought I will make the introduction. So meet whatever your name is. That is powerful, and that will cut through all of the noise. So get a common contact that knows both of you to make that introduction. It'll go much smoother that way. So that is my ninja tip for you. You're welcome. And the third way that I have used to grow my listeners is going to my old songs and promoting them. So you will say, they're old songs, but actually they're old to you, but they're not old to the people that are hearing them for the first time, right? So go to your old songs and promote them to new people. That is another great way to grow your listeners. Okay. There was one more thing that I wanted to mention. So there's this guy, John Gold, who created like an app with AI, and he calls it the Spotify switch, Spotify growth switch. And the promise is that it makes it really easy to run Facebook ads to your music. But there was a strategy that he introduced his followers to that I loved, and I tried it this year. And it's running Facebook ads through his platform, and his platform just makes it real easy for artists to turn on the Facebook ads, which is why it's called Switch. You just switch it on. And if you join his if you buy it, if you sign up, he gives you a video showing you step by step how to do it. And I think what I really loved about it is you're running a Facebook ad, but it's not just to one song, it's to a playlist of your songs, right? So at the start of the year, I got on a call with them and they set it up for me. And we put all of my songs in one playlist. And then I picked the one song that I really wanted to promote. And then I picked 3 different um, 15-second clips, so the best parts of the song. I picked 3 different parts, and we ran Facebook ads to the 3 of them, and then I turned off the ones that were not doing as well, and I left the top clip, I left that running for a while. And what I love about this is people are not just going to click the link to listen to your one song. It actually goes straight to Spotify. And when your song finishes, it goes straight away to the next song and to the next song. And you will actually have new listeners who are listening to all of your songs that way. So you're not just growing your audience, growing your listeners, you're getting new fans and they're getting to listen to all of your songs, which I thought was a fabulous idea. So his name is John Gold. It's called the Spotify Growth Switch. So you can check it out. If you have a small budget, maybe like a £3 to £5 budget that you can just leave for Spotify ads, Facebook ads, and just do that daily, just leave it on, you can really grow your listeners. You can really grow your audience. So I thought I would mention that as well. Now, I haven't used it a lot, which is why it's not my top one yet. But yeah, I think those are my top 4. Let me know what you're using. Let me know what has made the best impact for you. Thank you so much for listening. So just to summarize, number 1, it's paying a professional playlister to get your songs on playlists for you, the right kinds of playlists. Number 2, it's collaborating with other artists that have much bigger audiences. And number 3, it is running or getting your old music onto playlists. Okay, I hope you found all of that valuable. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for joining me. Let me know below if you have other really great, effective ways of growing your Spotify audience. And I'm going to leave you with just a reminder that if you have not downloaded my mini course, monetize your music in 3 days, click the link below. It is free, and it will just get you to start thinking about new ways that you can begin to monetize your music. Thank you so much for listening. See you next time on another episode of the Fulfilled Musicpreneur podcast. Take care. Bye for now.